London, 1888. Fog, thick as wool. Gas lamps trembling like guilty consciences. Wild Rose felt the distortion before she saw it. Time had a bruise here. The streets of Whitechapel were crawling with fear, but fear alone doesn't bend reality. Something else was hunting. Something old, precise, and not human. They called him Jack. Wild Rose moved through the alleys in a plain wool coat, red hair hidden beneath a scarf. To the eyes of men, she was just another woman hurrying home. To her instruments, woven into rings and bone charms, the city glowed wrong. Every murder left a faint spiral in the air, like a fingerprint pressed into time itself. This wasn't madness. It was harvest. Jack the Ripper was not a man. He was a dissector species, a nomadic alien caste that hid among emerging civilizations during moments of social fracture. They studied fear the way botanists study flowers. Human anatomy fascinated them, not for medicine, but for thresholds. How much pain before the soul loosened. How terror tasted when it peaked. Jack wore a man's skin poorly. Wild Rose found him in a narrow court, kneeling over another victim, humming softly, off-key, ancient. His shadow bent the wrong way against the brick wall. "Step away," she said. Jack turned. His face was human. His eyes were not. They unfolded, layered, insect slow, revealing a geometry that hurt to look at. "You are early," Jack said, voice splitting into harmonics. "This era is not finished ripening." Wild Rose drew her weapon, not a gun, not a blade, but a compressed fold anchor, stolen centuries ahead of her birth. It screamed as it powered up, protesting the century. "You've fed enough," she said, "and you're contaminating the timeline." Jack laughed. His jaw unhinged just slightly. "Too far. You humans always think your pain is special." He lunged. The fight tore through the alley in silence. No witnesses would remember it cleanly. Jack moved like a surgeon with too many joints, cutting air itself. Wild Rose was thrown against brick, ribs cracking, breath leaving her in a white burst. Still she smiled, because Jack had made a mistake. He had hunted women, and Wild Rose was not prey. She activated the anchor. Space folded inward, crushing Jack's true form as it tried to emerge. Too large, too many limbs, too much hunger. The alien shrieked, a sound like knives dragged across church bells. "You will be remembered as a ghost story," Wild Rose said through blood. "That's mercy." Jack reached for her, dissolving. "History will protect me," he hissed. "No," she said. "History will misname you." The anchor collapsed. Jack the Ripper vanished. No body, no proof. Just fog, blood, and unanswered questions. By morning, the murder stopped. Men argued for centuries afterward. Madman, butcher, royal conspiracy. No one guessed the truth. Wild Rose left London before sunrise, lifting silently from a hidden rooftop as the Thames reflected a bruised sky. She logged the encounter under a simple note: Dissector Entity, ERA 1888. Terminated timeline, stabilized humanity, still worth protecting. Then she vanished into the stars. And Jack became a legend. As planned, Wild Rose and the Ripper of the Watchers. London, 1888 was not chosen at random. The Watchers had learned long ago that cities and moral collapse thin the veil. Whitechapel was a wound, poverty, fear, shame, and silence stacked so tightly that even heaven looked away. That was when they sent the Ripper. Jack was not merely an alien. He was a Watcher relic. The truth the Watchers buried before the flood. The Watchers, those who descended in the days of Jared, did not only take wives, they engineered servants. Biological instruments designed to study human flesh, spirit, and fear. When the creators shattered their works, most of these constructs were destroyed. Most. A few were sealed away. Jack was one of them. A dissector-class servitor keyed to Nephilim genetics, able to recognize bloodlines the Watchers once bred into humanity. He didn't kill randomly. He selected women whose ancestry carried dormant giant markers, lineages the Watchers hoped to awaken again. Each murder was not indulgence. It was sampling. Why now? Why then? Because in 1888, the Watchers were moving again. Not openly. Never openly. They had learned from the flood. Instead, they worked through empires, secret societies, and institutions that catalog instead of rule. Jack's data was being transmitted through ritual geometry, through blood patterns left in alleyways, through screams that resonated in dimensions humans couldn't hear. Every cut was a signal, and someone was listening. Wild Rose sees the signal. Wild Rose didn't just feel a distortion in time. She felt old heaven anger. Her instruments, built from stolen Watcher tech and sanctified with creator counter keys, began to scream. Symbols appeared in the fog, spirals, ladders, broken stars. "This isn't a hunter," she whispered. "It's a probe." That was when she realized the truth. Jack wasn't the danger. The Watchers watching Jack were. The alleyway confrontation escalated. When Jack turned to face her, his human mask peeled back further than before. Behind the alien geometry was something worse, angelic architecture corrupted. "You carry his mark," Jack said, seeing her clearly now. "Not blood, authority." Wild Rose steadied herself against the brick. "You weren't meant to survive the flood." "We were not meant to be forgotten," Jack replied. "The Nephilim will rise again. Your species was always temporary." She raised the fold anchor. "Funny," she said. "The Creator disagrees, Vermish." The Watchers intervened. As the anchor activated, the sky answered. Not with thunder, but with attention. Something vast leaned closer to Earth. Wild Rose felt the Watchers' gaze, cold, analytical, resentful. They did not descend. They no longer needed to. Humanity had built enough towers for them. Jack began to change, unfolding too fast. Stamped with a symbol that would later reappear in Cold War dossiers, a broken ladder, Watcher iconography. The British didn't understand it, but they learned to flag it. 3. The modern intelligence convergence. By the 20th century, those symbols surfaced again. Nazi occult programs, Soviet psychic research, CIA remote viewing projects, missing persons tied to ancient bloodlines, genetic markers that refuse to die out. Different agencies, same quiet rule. Do not attempt contact, only observe. They called it different things: non-human intelligence, pre-human survivors, legacy architects. The Vatican had a simpler term: Watchers. The file they don't share. There is one document that never leaves Vatican custody. A single-page addendum attached to the Ripper file. No seal, no signature. Just a line of text that terrifies every agency that's seen it under controlled access. The London node was not neutralized by heaven, hell, or man. It was closed by a traveler, and beneath it a sketch. A woman, red hair, standing in an alleyway, holding something that bends space. Wild Rose in the modern era? Wild Rose knows all of this. She has walked those archives, once as a scholar, once as a ghost, once as a problem no one could detain. Every modern agency has encountered her exactly once, never twice. Because the second meeting never happens. Their surveillance fails. Their files contradict themselves. Their witnesses recant with absolute certainty. And the Vatican, quietly, reluctantly, does something no other institution dares. They pray for her, not against her, for her. Why the Watchers haven't returned openly? Because Jack taught them something. The Creator isn't their greatest threat anymore. His gardener is loose in the timelines, and she burns archives. Wild Rose's final log entry: restricted, unknown origin. Ripper data contamination. Contained human institutions, aware but limited. Vatican status: hostile neutral. Informed Watchers, observing, afraid. She closes the file. They keep records, Wild Rose says softly, lifting into fold space. I keep balance. The rows of unburned time, archivum custodum caducorum, folio 7, suppressed. Translated from a composite of Latin, Aramaic, and pre-flood Watcher script, original margins burned. Reconstructed from surviving fragments. When the Watchers return, not in fire, but in files, when towers are built not to heaven, but to memory, the Creator shall not send the flood again. He will send the gardener. She will not be born once. She will be born many times. Her footsteps will fall where history weakens. She will carry no crown, swear no vow, kneel before no throne. Yet kings will misname her, and angels will not. Her hair shall be the color of the first sacrifice. Her name taken from what grows where blood falls. She will smell of iron and rain and stars. The Watchers will see her and remember fear. She will close what heaven once shattered, and shatter what men believed closed. She will burn books without fire, and erase bloodlines without killing. Where she walks, Nephilim inheritance will fail. Giants will be born small. Kings will dream of greatness and wake as dust. She will hunt the tools of the fallen, not for vengeance, but because they are untended. And the sin of the Watchers was not descent, but abandonment. She will speak the name only once, not aloud, and not to us. We will know her by this sign. She will pass through the sealed places and leave no corruption behind. The locks will remain intact. Only the contents will be gone. Do not bind her. Do not bless her. Do not test her. For she does not rebel, and she does not obey. She maintains, when the Watchers finally rise, they will not be cast down by heaven. They will withdraw, because the rose is already there. Marginal notes, official Vatican commentary, never published. Gardner is not metaphorical. Indicates corrective authority without dominion. Subject does not align with angelic, demonic, or human hierarchies. Repeated warnings suggest catastrophic outcome if interference attempted. Sketches match 19th century Whitechapel anomaly witness reports. Final annotation written in a different hand, ink chemically dated to 1963. If she is real, then revelation is not an ending. It is maintenance. Why this prophecy is buried? Because it breaks doctrine. It implies the Creator anticipated the Watcher's return. Judgment can be distributed across time. Salvation can look like containment. And heaven is willing to trust a human-shaped variable. That idea terrifies institutions. Wild Rose knows the prophecy exists, she has never read it. She doesn't need to. She wrote part of it by walking through centuries and cleaning up after angels.